Hey, this is Miles Claybourne with Left on Red. You're listening to Music Existence.
Welcome to another instance of music existence where, because of music, we exist. First interview of 2025, I'd like to welcome Miles Claybourne of Left on Red, formerly the drummer of Saw, but now he has a new project starting up the new year fresh and clean on a clean slate. Welcome, Miles. Thank you for being here.
Hey, Jake, thanks for having me, man. This is awesome. Glad to be here.
Yeah, talk briefly about Saul in that transition into getting this new project going.
So actually, I was still in Saul when I started Left on Red back in January of last year. And then things kind of took a turn, and some views differed with the band that made me decide to step down back in July. And since then, it's kind of all just been kind of full steam ahead with Left on Red, which is proven to be a good thing. This year is already starting off incredibly quickly for us, and things are progressing very fast. So I think it was a good choice to do. I don't regret a single thing.
It was really awesome, man. And you come from the Midwest scene, the Missouri scene. I know, like Cleveland's really big. And what about Missouri? What do you observe about how that scene got going?
I came in late to the scene here. I've only
Mm-hmm.
been down here since 2023.
Okay.
So I'm still kind of getting acclimated a little bit. I mean, I've been here 2 years. This is definitely like I'm part of the scene here now.
Where are
All of my
you
art.
originally from, man?
I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Ohio, yeah, that definitely
Yeah,
has the scene all its own.
absolutely. So yeah, we'll be getting up there at some point this year, which is that's already in the works. But yeah, the scene down here, I love it. We actually have a show this Saturday at a venue called the Blue Note here in Columbia, and they actually are doing like this whole, I think it's like 5 or 6 shows over the weekend between Rose Music Hall, the Blue Note, because like they're doing like a blues fest, a country fest, rock fest, which we're on, and then they're doing like a metal heavy fest. It's like they very much value the arts in the music scene around here. The bigger venues do, to where they have these big shows to showcase the local talent they have. And then like when bigger acts come through, if they have space on the bill, they always have a local support. So like it's great to kind of to live in an area that values the artists around here as much as they do.
I bet you get chills, man.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100
Just
percent.
the connection between the audience and you guys is
Yeah,
just, it's magic.
it's amazing, man. Every time we get up on stage, are having the best night of our lives. Every show we have is the best night of our lives. we
Even when it all goes to shit, there's something to look back on.
Hey, even when it goes to shit, man, we're still up on stage. We still get to do what we love to do. So technical issues and all, we'll take it.
Nice. Now, to get more into the personal side, tell me about you growing up and your upbringing and how that informed your musical abilities.
Yeah, so around eight or nine, I had been in church with my family every Sunday, every Wednesday, and from a younger age, I didn't really like mind it at all. Didn't really pay any mind to what was going on. But like the older I got, the more I started like watching the musicians, and which was kind of weird because wasn't really anybody in my family that was any like musically inclined at all.
Oh, wow.
Um, my grandma could play piano,
Cool.
and so there was that. But everybody else in my family, like nobody played music at all. And I kind of took a little bit of a liking to the drums. And so the drummer at the time, he would like let me set up behind the kit and watch during services at some point. And then there was a little bit towards when I started getting older where he would actually stay behind for a little bit after services and teach me a couple things. And it was weird. As soon as I was able to drive, because I wasn't really a big fan of the church we were going to. The older I got, and the more of an understanding I took to like certain things that were going on in the church. As soon as I could drive and got my own car, I stopped going there and started going to a different church
Hmm.
that was a little bit more contemporary.
Band centric, for
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you
they
could do.
exactly. They were playing a lot like more all of the Hillsong and the Elevation, and like
Christian rock stuff too.
yeah, more of the Christian rock stuff for sure. That's kind of when I started getting into like 10th Avenue North and stuff like
Jars of
that.
clay and stuff.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And then Skillet, all those bands, the
Yeah.
Newsboys, but like so yeah, I started kind of getting into those, which kind of progressed my music taste into a more I started getting into more of like the secular music. So
Hmm.
listening, it was weird. I did a jump from church music straight into like pop punk at the time. So it was like
That secular transition is always a kind of a weird one.
yeah, it is. It is because you're just like, oh, okay, everyone's singing about God, and then you go and it's like, okay, this guy's singing about how much life sucks. You know? Like, okay, yep, word, let's go. But yeah, that started being like Blink 182, Sum 41, Simple Plan, bands like that. And so that's when I started like through high school. Started playing guitar, did a lot more drums, and then ended up playing bass in my first band out of high school, which was called Personal Public.
Hmm.
So played in that band for a few years. Started playing drums in a few other bands. The vocal thing, which is weird because I've only ever been a musician in bands. I've only ever played either guitar, bass, or drums.
Hmm.
And the vocal thing didn't even start until Left on Red started. This is the first band I've ever fronted in my life. So
Well, so not even casually, not even in like a karaoke standpoint or any
there
of
was
that.
there there was a couple drunken nights of karaoke for sure. But yeah, I never really took the singing thing seriously. I did like a little like a solo project
Did
when I
you
lived in
do like soulful kind of grungy vocals, or did you know it was like gonna be straight up hardcore, straight up guttural type stuff?
yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even start screaming until last year.
Oh wow,
So yeah, I really this is still learning for me. Um and I'm still picking stuff up. I'm still watching like vocal tutorials on YouTube and just trying to like really hone into what I'm doing. But like this is still very fresh for me. But has been a great time to learn for sure.
it's really cool. And so you mentioned your roots with Saul. So getting Left on Red um, underway. So you guys debuted beginning of last year.
Yeah.
Um, and this is like before you guys ever played a single show, had like any sort of thing, but you had the song Fairweather in the works. And I was wondering, where was the fan base just carried over from Soul, or was it just from scratch, completely organic, one at a time kind of thing?
A bit of both. There was definitely some fans that supported me when I started Left on Red that had been Saul fans. But also we've got a bit of a super group of musicians, like of local musicians here. So bass player Brummer, he plays guitar in a band called Con Man Economy, which is from around here. We also have Shay Spence, who's playing drums. She played in a band called The Many Colored Death, which they did quite a bit of good things. Opened for a lot of big bands between the tri-state area, I should say. And then we got Corey Harness, who played in a band called Red Room for a while on guitar, and like putting the whole band together that way. Like we all kind of pulled fans from previous projects that we had that kind of helped organically start the train rolling, if you will. But the rest of the growth we've had since then has been pretty large and organic, which has been awesome.
It's really cool. Now, go to that first song, Fairweather. That's what you debuted with. What could you say about like how that was responded to and how what you intended for that song?
Literally, okay, so that whole song,
Yeah.
that whole song wasn't supposed to be a Left on Red song, ironically.
Oh wow.
That song, so I don't for people that don't know, my job is producing. so I write for bands. That track ended up being a track that I wrote for another artist that he ended up being like, this isn't really the vibe I'm going for. And I was like, oh, well, do you want to like
So you're
rework
like a Bill Champlin or like Barry Gordy kind of
it? Pretty much. Yeah, no, I was just like, so
Motown.
we can rework it, or what do you want to do? It's just like, I just want to do something different. I was
This
like,
is
okay,
like the hardcore Motown.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. No, so like that one just kind of like went on the back burner for a bit, and I was just like, oh, I could, I'll have another track to sell, if somebody, if I at some point I want to sell it. And I ended up sending it to a buddy of mine who produces out in Nashville. And I was like, yo, check this out. And he's just like, sick, man. He's like, is this your new band? And I was just like, well, no, I was supposed to be for a client. And because it was still an instrumental at that point. And he was just like, what are your plans? And I'm just like, well, I'm probably just gonna sell it. I was like, I'm not really sure what to do with it. He's just like, he's like, well, throw some vocals on it. If you like it, keep it. If you don't like it, you got a track to sell to somebody. And I wrote the whole song, did all the vocals, and I was just like, this is good. Like I
Well,
was
so
really,
it was so back up a bit. So it was originally meant for somebody else.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah. We had a client that was just like he wanted like a bear tooth style track, but with more pop punk, like almost kind of like neck deep 4 year strong choruses. So I was like, okay, sick, I can do that. And thought I freaking nailed it. But he was just like, no, not really. So yeah, after I put all the vocals on it and I kind of sat on it for a little while. And I was talking to a former friend and was just like, I really want to do something with this. And we kind of like they came up with a name, which is was funny because the name that she suggested was a name that I had come up with like years ago for a band that I had just kind of been sitting around. I'm just like, this is kind of a sign that this should probably be the band name. And literally that day, so January 1st, I hit up Brummer, I hit up Corey, and I hit up Shay, and I sent all three of them the song. And I was just like, let me know what you think about this. I really want to build a band
Did
around
they
this.
leave you on red?
That's the thing. No, all of them listened to it and they were like, dude, this is sick. I'd love to play in a band. What do you want to do? And I was like, obviously it was like, Corey, I want you to play guitar. Shay, I want you to play drums. Brummer, like, I'd love you to play bass on this. He's like, I play bass on this. And so that day I was like, sick, put the whole group chat together on Facebook, and that was the start of the band.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and it's cool. I mean, you can relate to being left on red. It's always devastating sometimes, especially
Hmm.
like when you want to collab with somebody or reach out to somebody. But you
Yeah.
take that experience and you turn it into something and you just kind of roll with it, you know. And that's what I like about your music is that sort of not only the blunt kind of hardcore approach, not only like the tongue in cheekness in your approach, but also the vulnerability. You had an album out, Imposter Syndrome. Talk about that, man.
Yeah, that was the first EP we dropped. Dropped in May last year. Which that record moved very quickly. We started with the band with just Fairweather, like that was the
Mm-hmm.
only song we had done. And then we released it and people started catching on and we were just like, we should probably write more songs. And so we cranked out the other five. Um, and we always liked to write like Brummer put it perfectly. We did a podcast about a week ago, and Brummer put this perfectly, and I can't put it any better. He's like, we write music that we want to listen to, like that we would like to hear. Like we don't go on and just like, okay, what's current on on Octane right now? Like what did this band just put out that's getting received well? We're just like we're not gonna try to like make our sound and build our career by ripping off other bands. Like we want to do something that's going to be unique to us that people are going to be like, as soon as they hear it, it's like, oh, this is Left on Red. I've
Mm-hmm.
heard this. I've heard this from them before. This is the only other band that I know that's going to do this type of thing. Like, like case in point, the track I just finished today has a freaking SpongeBob breakdown.
Yeah, I heard that.
So like,
I was gonna put like Spring Boob Squire Pin for the win. Like, holy hell! Like you
yeah,
remember that scene? Spring Boob Squire Pin.
yeah, we got a good old doodle bob in there for this one. But yeah, like for the rest of the tracks, like none of the songs on that EP go together, you know? Like Black Hole is different from No Mud.
You
No
kind of
Mud,
use that to your advantage, I guess.
yeah, exactly. Because well, we fit on every bill, you know? Like Imposter Syndrome is like the lightest track that we have on the record. That has like screaming elements, but not a lot of it. It's more singing than anything. It's got a saxophone solo at the end. Like,
Get up, let's dance, motherfuckers! Oh,
You can do a lot with the sax.
you can do so much with the saxophone. Like, I mean, freaking Bill Murray's touring with a live sax player right now.
Yeah.
Like, that's the fourth member of the band. They were like, we have a drummer, a guitarist, him playing guitar as well and singing, and then a sax player.
Yeah.
They're like, skip the bass player. We'll put him in the tracks. We're just gonna have another saxophone.
Well, everyone knows, like, when you record, when you want to record bass, you either use MIDI or or you pitch down your guitar.
Well, yeah, and see, that's the funny thing about this. I didn't even have a bass in my studio up until about 2 months ago, and I've been doing this for 3 years.
Yeah. You just pitch it down like a whole octave, and then you're like, "Yep, there's the bass."
Close
Gong
enough.
gong 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 gong.
No, I've always done the MIDI route, just because like it's so much easier, especially because like the stuff I was doing was super low tuned.
Especially because, like, when you record a bass, it sucks because you can barely hear it. You can only hear like the clacking of your fingers, like hitting the strings, but never the actual notes.
Yeah, yeah, which is why MIDI bass has been so instrumental in the recording process lately. You don't have to tune it, you don't have to intonate it, you don't have to like set it up, like it's just ready to go.
Bass is like a bitch to record, no
Yeah.
question.
Oh my God, yeah, definitely. It's my least favorite instrument to record, 100%. I like recording acoustic guitar more than I like recording bass.
Yeah, and then so so it's a very like again like you said like a very diverse album. Like no track is very much alike, but do you feel like a kind of a hidden synchronicity or like just make of it what you will type of thing with each track?
Yeah, every track, the only thing each track has in common is that it's us, you know? Everything's pretty different. There are some undertones and some like some similar elements between tracks on this next record because like we were the first record we were just like we need to get our name out there. We need to have something people can listen to, you know? And like kind of establish who we are. And then this next record, we're just like, let's just get silly with it, you know? Let's have some
Mm-hmm.
fun. And there's songs on there that are really serious, and there's songs on there that aren't really serious. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to go back a little bit again, talking about the EP, you had the song to speak to that level of diversity, "No Mud on My Vans." It has
yeah.
like country elements to it too, alongside your signature sound. So, how did that come together? Yeah,
With a lot of weed.
yeah, lovely. Edibles too.
Yeah, man. No, I was actually up in Idaho in
What's your
Boise.
favorite strain?
My favorite oh dude, I don't usually sativa.
Okay.
I more go the hybrid route usually just because I like to still be productive.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You don't want to be totally like immobilized.
Exactly, which I have messed up before and like done an indica
No,
or I'm
no.
trying to work. And literally, I'm not gonna lie. I freaking sat here and stared at my screen for about 3 hours.
Or yeah, you can't be up and walking or you fall down. That sucks.
Whole room spins. I cannot do indica. But yeah, I was up in Boise, Idaho, actually working with a client. I was up there for 2 weeks working with him, and that was literally right after Left on Red started. So I was up there the first 2 weeks in January, um, or the second 2 weeks in January. So the band started on the first. The second week, I flew up there to start recording him, and we
Hmm.
would work on his stuff during the day. And then I had a room in this place, and he had like a desk set up in there, and I had a second mic with me, just in case I wanted to demo stuff out after people went to bed. And 3 songs on that record were written in that 2 weeks that I was up there in Boise, and No Mud was one of them. So No Mud, let's see, No Mud, Imposter Syndrome, and one other one was written while I was up there. But yeah, I was just up there, and like the thing was, where we were at was kind of outside of the city. The backyard actually touched a farm. So like their back gate, and if you see my TikTok, there's like one of the pinned one is me, like singing into an SM7B in the middle of this backyard with a bunch of snow, and that backyard behind that is the farm. And the whole thing, the whole time I'm sitting out there, like in this just like incredible amount of snow, couldn't get anything delivered because it was just too far outside of the city.
Right.
And I'm just sitting here, just like I'm definitely made for the city. Like, like I'm not country at all. Which is what that entire song is
But
about.
you are musically, you let everything shine, you know?
Definitely try to. I definitely try to. But yeah, found that banjo sample and it was kind of off to the races from there.
Oh man. And I love it. Love it. And you know, what next? Okay, Flatline too. What about that one?
So like as far as the writing process, or
Yeah.
that whole
Flatline.
that whole song was written part musically and completely lyrically was written on Brummer and I's drive up to Indianapolis to pick up a new in-ear rack and lights.
So basically, once you travel a lot, that inspires you to kick off the writing process.
Sometimes, I mean, I draw inspiration from everything, you know. There's not really any one thing that makes me feel like I want to like write something. Like one of the new tracks we're about to release, I was working on another client's project, just kind of scrolling through sounds in Anna 2, which is one of the synth plugins I have, and found this thing that was called Doomslayer Descent that had this really cool sound to it that ended up being the basis for an entire track that I wrote
Ain't
for
it
it.
cool how detailed the sounds are nowadays?
Absolutely.
It blows you
Absolutely.
away, man.
Yeah. But anyways, back to Flatline.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Brummer were driving up, and this was like end of September, towards the end of September, and I was just like, he was just like, we should write. He's like, we should do a cover for Halloween. And so like we started, and I was like, yeah, that'd be sick. And like so we started going through like all the normal songs. Like we checked out Thriller. We were like doing This Is Halloween, stuff like that. We were just kind of going through and finding all of these covers that had already been done and done well. So I'm just like, at the end of it, we got through like 10 or 15 songs on Spotify. And we were just like, we just write our own. We just write our own Halloween song. And it's like the line that kicked it all off was the pre-chorus to the to the first chorus, which was I'm the worst way you could meet your end. To me, you're just adrenaline. And I was just like, okay, let's write this whole song kind of from this perspective of a serial killer, you know? Because like you always hear songs that are like written from like the victim's point of view, stuff like that. But like, and like talk about, there's other songs that just talk about just straight up, like, ah, I'm a killer, stuff like that. But like,
But your mind at this point is like, how about we write about something that people can't relate to and see what that.
exactly, exactly. And that's kind of the thing is like, in that song, the killer is almost given a bit of a conscience.
Oh wow.
Um, because like the chorus is like for what it's worth, I don't take this lightly. I have my vices when everything's coming undone. So like he's basically just like I'm doing this because mentally I have to. Like it's a itch I have to scratch. It's almost like Dexter in a way, if you've ever watched that show. Where he's just like it's like smoking a cigarette for him, you know? It's just like I'm not gonna feel okay until I kill somebody. Like so that's kind of how that whole song was written. Was just kind of like let's just see how deep into the mind of a serial killer we can go writing this track.
terms of relatability, we get to your latest single, PyroSCENiac, and that's
Hmm.
about like, you go into the scene and everyone seems to be kind of having your back, but at the same time, like you notice that they're laughing and they're scoffing. You're like, what the hell? Like, what the fuck? Like, I thought
Yeah.
that you guys like have my back. So, that it basically lights a fire under your ass to write this song. So how did that? What inspired PyroSCENiac?
PyroSCEniac, you're absolutely correct with how that is. The
Yeah.
kind of the basic premise of it. PyroSCEniac was actually written about a certain, like actually specific person or persons in the scene that we have here in Colombia.
Wow.
This person, like she used to like shoot bands here all the time. Like she would shoot every band here. Until she started like straight up like shit talking the bands that she would shoot and like the scene in general. Like she was just like, oh, this scene isn't good. This is a toxic scene and all that stuff. And everyone's just like, what are you talking about? You know, like this is great. We have a great scene here. And then just one after one, bands stopped booking her. Like to where like there's like maybe I could count on one hand the bands I think she's shot in the last year. Uh,
Mm.
but yeah, that was the whole premise of that song is like the call line, here lies your career, fatal wound, self-inflicted. Because like that's what will be on the tombstone, like you killed your career by straight up biting the hand that feeds you, basically, and talking shit about every band that you shoot. Like you can't do that.
Yeah. And like I've learned interviewing people, like ridicule you can sort of take, and
Mhm.
like it kind of says like, okay, someone's talking shit, like I can just do better. I can just be perform better. I can get like however many guys to, solidify a team, and we can get better, stronger, but with indifference, with rambling, with trolling, with all of that, it kind of deflates you in like a strange way,
Yeah, yeah, it does, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, we're running into that
because
a little.
it's not very concrete. You're not even like sure how to respond to that. Like, what are you saying? Like if you write a song, you put it up, and someone says, "This makes me cry," all lowercase, no punctuation. You're like, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? And then they don't elaborate, and you're like, what do you.
No, we've had a lot of that with the Pyroceniac drop, just because we have like a bit of a controversial part in that, which is that like that sneeze in the middle of the song.
The sneeze core.
Yeah, yeah, and like 99% of the people that have heard that are just like, this is freaking rad. Like, this is like you don't hear this before. Like you got Not Enough Space, who's got that like the moan core, as they call it. Um, and then we come across with a sneeze and there's people that are like, "Oh, you guys are ruining metal." There was other people that are just like, "This is a gimmick. This is corny. This is cheesy." And I'm just like, "Good, talk about it."
Well, let's set the record straight. Did you have to sneeze?
No,
Oh man.
but the thing is, the line after that is, "Guess I'm allergic to your bullshit."
Okay.
So it all kind of lines up. People started focusing just on the sneeze and didn't focus on the lines after it.
Okay. So it sort of it sort of became like noticed for that thing, and then um and like you said, like, okay, that happened.
Hmm.
Focus on the rest of the song. And then because of that, you're it started gaining traction. Like people picked up on it. People are listening. You're like, what? There's this
Yeah.
one podcast guy, he's talking about it.
Hmm.
It's a strange video, I'll give it that.
Well, budgets were low, and I did it in my living room. So
Yeah.
no,
I mean,
it's growing pretty quickly, man. Like we dropped that on Friday. It's at 22,000 streams right now on Spotify.
wow.
So it's doing really well.
I gotta sneeze. Cause I'm allergic to your bullshit. Little miseries that we call you back on it. It's not too much shade.
So you worked on songs for clients. Do you do like in everything you create? Do you do production yourself, or do you call on others to add whatever they can do for production?
When I produce for clients,
Yeah.
everything's me.
All right. So like everything, including the left on red stuff, you produce yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, how did that start with getting good with the techniques involved? Was it just trial and error to
There
start
was
with?
a lot of trial and error and then a bit of necessity. Because I started producing during COVID. So, because like the job I had at the time, I had just left Saul, or I just joined Saul. Left the job that I had because we were about to go on a 2 month tour we were supposed to do with Hell Yeah and Butcher Babies. That ended up getting canceled. So I left the job, started rehearsing, and then like 2 weeks before the tour, the whole thing got canceled. And so I hit my old job back up, and they were just like, "Yeah," I was like, "We already filled the slot. We're not hiring." And like the 15, 20 um, job applications that I had put in at the time weren't hiring either because everybody that had the job during COVID was keeping it. They're like, we're not going anything. And so I did door dashing, Uber Eats, and just started just trying to like write to stockpile some songs and started posting a few videos of them. And I got hit up by one of the guys who's actually still my current client today. And he was just like, "Hey," he's like, "What's going on with that track?" And I'm just like, "Oh, just something random that I wrote. Just probably something another one for the digital dust pile, you know." And he's like,
For the
"Well," he's like,
archives, right?
"Yeah, exactly." He's like, "Well, if that's not it's not if that's not for anybody." He's just like, "I'd love to buy that from you." That's kind of when the light bulb. Yeah, I'm just like, "Oh, okay." I was like, he's like, "How much do you want for it?" I'm just like, "I don't know, like $100 maybe." Because like at the time I didn't know any better. So like I
And you
sold it to him
know,
for
you know
$100.
the hustle, right? You know when it comes to hip hop, yo, I'll sell you a beat. How
Yeah,
much for a
exactly.
beat?
Yeah, yeah. Like that's kind of how that went. But then like it kind of progressed and then word started getting out and the client count grew and then the numbers as far as what I was charging started to grow because I'm like, I can't, do 10 tracks a month and have time for myself. So praise the prices so I could have a little bit more time and still do things. And then got that. It's just kind of like built up from there till like now, like I started in a basement in like a small corner with a single guitar, and I still have that guitar. It's still sitting over there, by the
Oh
way.
wow.
And it's now grown to one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight guitars, and a room in my own. Like everything that I've gotten in the last 3 years, this apartment, the motorcycle I have sitting outside, all the trips I've taken has been paid for by music and producing.
Oh wow. So
So
you kickstarted it in 2020. So I mean, how did you learn that initially? Was it through like tutorials? Did that kickstart it, or was it other people like showed you around like here this will make it better or this, or was it just all you? Just okay, I'm gonna learn this.
99% of it was YouTube Academy, man.
Th-
Literally, I
those eight
learned,
hour those 8 hour
yeah,
EQ courses.
pretty much. It was a bit of that, and then when I started getting a lot better at it when Saul went to record with Kyle Odell out in Nashville.
Hmm.
I'd hang out because we
Yeah,
all drove.
Kyle. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy, amazing recording engineer, amazing producer. So I got to kind of sit in and kind of watch what he did and got some
Oh,
pointers
see.
from him on recording and editing and whatnot. And so I took that back and started working on stuff on my own, and it's constantly honing the craft. I also got a little bit of it because I tried to flesh out a couple demos in an old band that I was in called Renegades when I first lived in Kansas City, and we were out for a little over 2.5 weeks recording with Andrew Wade out in Florida. And that would be another thing, which like the living quarters were attached to the studio. And so when we would get done recording for the night, I'd stay in and kind of just hang out with Andrew and just kind of watch how he comped stuff together and watch how he edited vocals and how he edited guitars. and just kind of like, took mental notes just to kind of take home with me. And I didn't really know how to implement them until I started doing this more and more and like started putting it like in as a job, as a career. So everything I've done, everything I've learned has kind of been more out of necessity, just because I'm just like, I got to get better because there's people I got to keep up with. There's people that I've got to perform better than,
Hmm.
in order to get some of the clients and some of the projects that I've got. And it's definitely starting to help because there's bands that I work with now that I wouldn't have worked with years ago because I was nobody.
Yeah, was there an initial period of doubt that you had to shake off?
Dude, there's doubt every day. I mean, the whole EP imposter syndrome.
Like like the production anxiety?
Yeah. Yeah. There was always like, I'd finish a track and I'd be like, I'm pretty stoked on this. And then there would be like, I'd like sit and like hesitate for like a day or two before even sending it to the client because I needed to listen to it. And then like, I always second guess and I could have I could have
This
done
is
this
too
better.
dry, especially getting the
Exactly.
bass.
Exactly. Especially with
Getting the
mixes. I,
bass, remember? Like everyone has trouble with bass.
yep. Yeah, man. Like especially with mixes, I second guess myself all the time until
How about mastering? Are you better at that now?
I'm getting better at it.
Okay.
I've taken a lot over the years, as far as like pointers and whatnot, and notes from clients
What are your
that have.
favorite plugins to use?
Oh, dude, LA two-way compressor. Pretty much use a stock limiter whenever I master two, which
When in doubt.
everybody stock limiter. What are you kidding me? Like gotten a lot into saturation. A lot of the JST and a lot of the what is my foot on? Oh, that. A lot of the SSL stuff I've been using, just bus compressors and whatnot. And then a bit of the actually, let me pull this up real quick just so I can see it.
Hmm.
Um, it's on my main guitars. Steven Slate stuff, Steven Slate digital stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
SSL.
the virtual mix rack, I use that a lot. STL's control hub has been crazy good too. Just for kind of being able to get closer to the sound I'm looking for, so I don't have to do a lot of stuff in the back end.
Yeah, there's a lot of good reference in that.
Exactly. Exactly. So there's and like with the plugins that have gotten like better and better and better over the years, like it doesn't take a lot to get a track sounding good. You just kind of have to know how to utilize it in
Hmm.
the correct way. So
And you feel that these days that the bond between the whole band has gotten a lot better?
oh, it's been good from the start.
Hmm.
We haven't had a single day where we've just kind of like been at each other's throats or
Fuck
like
you, see you
yeah,
later
yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, literally. Like we are this band is the most tight knit and
Cohesive.
yeah, cohesive, positive. Everyone's always on the same page about stuff. Everyone trusts each other, which is a big thing for me. There's never been any type of like doubt where they're just like, I don't know, man, that's not really a good idea.
Is
If
it a
someone's like, oh,
contrast from your previous band?
mm, yeah,
Oh man, big time. Big
oh
time.
my God, yeah.
All right.
Which is hilarious to me because the thing we're doing right now, which is growing left on red so substantially, is ideas that I had for the last band that I was in that I brought up and they were never implemented. And it's cool because like I'm doing that. I'm like, hey guys, we should try this. I wanted to try this and saw it. And they
Just
were just
like,
like, yeah, a
nah, just kind of laugh at you, kind of fuck you, kind of go to your corner kind of thing.
little bit like, yeah, shut up, drummer. But yeah, I'm like, hey guys, I want to do this. I want to pitch to Hardcore Keem. I want to pitch to Orion Reacts. Like, I want to like see if we can get these avenues going. And they're like, yeah, sure. How much is it going to cost? Like, thanks guys for trying this. And like now, like I'm sitting here like I'm watching this, and like this is constant. Like we've been at like a consistent 32 people listening since Friday. Since
Okay,
the
cool.
track
Yeah,
dropped. Um,
start
and then
somewhere, you know.
yeah, the track's about to hit 23,000. Like here in little bits at 29:42 right now after I just refreshed it. So this is the thing. Like I watch this all day like a freaking stock ticker, dude.
Yeah, no, especially yeah, oh yeah, when you have like investments that you're watching.
Yeah,
Gotta
seriously.
check my assets.
Got to check my assets, man. But yeah, like going from the fact that we started last year to sitting here today with 18,000 monthly listeners is a
Like
pretty great.
what the fuck? Like never in a
That's
million. Like goddamn.
I do that every day, man. Every day I'm just like, holy crap, dude. Like this is wild. Like Flatline, we just on Friday or Saturday, we were just like, Flatline just hit 40,000 streams. This is massive. And I look at it right now and it's about to hit 50. It's
Jesus Christ.
at 46 right now.
Oh
So
man.
the growth has been amazing. And just the fact that people trust me enough to be like, we're gonna follow your lead on this. Because like you know what you're doing. And I'm just like, thank you. And like I'm not as far as the writing goes, like I'm very much a like let's include everybody in this.
Hmm.
So like I'll finish a track and I'll send it to everybody and be like, yo, what do you guys think? And then they'll be like, yeah, this is sick. And I'm just like, sick. All right, Corey, when do you want to come over? We can like knock some guitar stuff out for anything you want to add or change. And he'll come over. Brummer will come over and do backing vocals or main vocals on certain spots. Shay always like the recorded parts have always just kind of stayed the way they've been tracked. But Shay live will change stuff out here and there, or change kick patterns or fills or whatnot, and I love that because that gives us. I've always been like a strong supporter of seeing a live band. Um, should in some way feel different than listening to them on a record. You know,
Hmm.
there should be
And
stuff that
not just like a louder, breathier version of the recording. Like it should
exactly
have its own separate dynamic.
exactly like be a performance. Be a performer. Do things live that I'm only going to hear live. Like if you're gonna play like note for note and everything's gonna be the exact same as it was on the record, like
Yeah.
I'll just be
You
basically
know,
singing along the rest of the people.
and you know how bands are live, especially when they copy the album. You know, they
Yeah,
you can hear them snort, you can hear them breathe heavy, you can hear them like sneeze. Sometimes they go, and
yep. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah,
but
so no, that's a big thing that we try to do is like um everybody has their individuality in this band, and I'm never gonna be the kind of person that's just like you guys need to follow what I do and only what I do, or else like I'll find someone else that will. Like no, like I picked the members in my band because of what they do and who they are, and I want that to be able to shine through the way that we perform.
hmm
So,
yeah, and putting that all together, considering the traction that you gained with your previous band and everything, you know, with this band, with Left on Red, what have you learned about yourself, not only as a musician, but as a person?
oh man, that's a long list. I've I've learned that I have a pretty low tolerance for bullshit. Um, and I've learned that my patience level is also very low. Not in the sense of like a temperament, but like I want things to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually recently just hired a booking agent because we're booking a run right now for the spring, and I was handling all of the booking. I booked 4 out of 8 of the shows on my own, and got literally it was funny. It's kind of ironic because like I would send these emails out to promoters and venues, and nobody would respond to me, and I'm just like, it's kind of ironic because the email header says left on red metalcore package for whatever date, and I'm sure all of them have opened it, but no one's ever responded to me.
So they left you on
They
red.
left me on red.
Prophecy fulfilled.
So, exactly. And so like I've the biggest thing I've learned about myself in this whole process has been that I can't do this by myself.
Hmm.
I've always been kind of like I need to get this done. I need to be the person that gets this done. And like throughout the course of this band, I've very much started delegating. Like Brummer's awesome at social media and making content, so he's
Yeah.
been taking a lot of that. Corey, he's a freaking tattoo artist. So he's been handling a lot of the artwork for us. Shay works like almost in like a managerial role, so she's really good with numbers. So she handles like a lot of the back end and handling with merge counts and all that stuff. So like, and then I do all the songwriting for the most part. So like everyone has jobs, so nobody gets burnt out. You know what I mean? so it's really easy to kind of like make it to where like no one's having to like shoulder everything. And then we've now hired out booking agent, so we've got somebody handling that. We're right now talking to a potential manager to go into this year and start getting us, more opportunities and more shows and whatnot. We have a publicist now, which is how we got connected. And then yeah, like everything's everything's just kind of started growing. Like the team is growing, which is gonna just do nothing but skyrocket this band further, which is what I'm really looking forward to. Because Brummer, he works at Hy-Vee, and he's told me every day, he's like, I could quit my job right now. And I'm like, trying to get to that point, dog. We're gonna make it happen.
Oh man, and you are. You eventually, I know you are with your determination, and I think you know it's not like with your low patience. I don't think. I mean, I bet you are patient generally, but
Mhm.
like it's not like a short fuse kind of thing. It's just an extra emphasis on the go getting mentality because you know you
Yeah.
can do it.
Right. Right. Yeah. 100%. 100%.
And
And that
like you
that
said, you can't do it all on your own because these last few years have been very selfish. You know, everyone, if you search through the dross of social media, it's always me, me, me. You know, I don't need nobody. But you really can't. You really can't do it all yourself. You need others.
exactly. And I mean, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today at the magnitude that I'm doing it today if I had just been doing it by myself from the rip. Like I've had tremendous help, between friends and family, like mentors and whatnot, just kind of going through the years that have enabled me to do this. Like the saying is, luck is 90% preparation, 10% timing. And like a lot of the opportunities I've been presented with wouldn't have happened if I wasn't prepared to accept them. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like last year, not last year, 2023, I got to play two shows with the Skylar Drive. Just flew out to the first show in Albuquerque and ripped two headlining sets with them on drums. And that was preparation, That was years of playing drums where the fact where I knew I could learn songs just, by listening to them a few times and kind of just, being able to rehearse through them, and flew out there with no rehearsals and just got to rip two shows. Like my rehearsal time with them was sound check. So preparation, the way the first EP came out, also preparation, years of learning how to produce and learning how to write and learning how to like make a good song. That record came together in a month. Six songs came together in a month, to get that record done. And that was all, due to help as well with the band and everything and
And
coming together.
gratitude too.
Exactly. Gratitude's a big thing, man, because if you let people do things for you and you've got no type of thankfulness or anything towards them, you're just a dick, dude. Like straight up, like you're not gonna go anywhere if you just keep screwing over the people that do things for you.
Yeah, like the PyroSCEniac shit that you went through.
Precisely, then.
Hmm.
Precisely.
And then lastly, anything you'd like to say to your fans?
Thank you. Massively thank you. This band is young. This band's hungry. Like we're shooting everything we got. And the fact that the fans have been so supporting and just behind us every step of the way and just kind of cheering us on, coming out to the shows. Like I'm really excited to see what this weekend is going to be for the numbers when we play. Also, thank you to the team that we've got. Sam McIntosh, Evan Thomas, awesome dudes that are helping us with booking and publication and everything, and just kind of getting our name in front of them. And then also, I mean, we paid this guy just to like be able to get the music on the channel. But Orion Reacts up in Canada we grew our numbers massively this weekend, like 800 plus new followers on Instagram, about 1,000 new followers on TikTok. Like oh man, yeah, it's something we paid for. We didn't pay him to like the song, but like I don't think this is a thing that like there's a thing that people don't realize about reactors, with hardcore Cam, Orion Reacts, all these other guys. You pay them to react to your stuff because they can't monetize those videos. You know, they're reacting to your music.
Right, because then the copyright comes in.
Exactly. So that's why they have these payments. They're like, we need to know who's serious, and like I need to. This is my job. I need to find a way to make money off of this. So we don't pay them to like the music. We don't pay them to say this song is
We
great.
paid them to react to it, whether it's
Pay them
good
to,
or
yeah,
bad.
react to it. And like the funny thing was, hard or Orion kind of knew what was coming because we've been talking a little bit on Instagram, and I sent him a little snippet when I was still writing the song. That after I recorded that sneeze, and I was just like, I'm going to be sending this one your way when the song is done. And he's just like, dude, please, this sounds like it's going to be awesome. So like, that's the thing people need to understand, like especially like the haters out there. I would say, like they're just like, oh, you guys just pay these people to like your music. Like we don't, man. Like we write music that we
Yeah,
like to write.
because not everyone likes it. Like people
Yeah,
just yeah.
yeah, and like Orion in his full reaction videos will say something about that. Like there was parts like when he did the full reaction to Pyro. There's a full reaction video. Anybody can find it on YouTube. There were parts at the in the song. He was just like, "This is all right," you know, like it's metalcore, like stuff like that. Like, but then there was parts where he was just like, "This is freaking sweet,"
Yeah.
and they're honest reaction videos. And another thing people need to understand is like these people have like filters. Like Orion has a manager, and all the music goes to the manager before it even hits Orion. So like if the manager doesn't like it and the manager doesn't think that Orion's gonna like it, he's not gonna send it to him. Period. Like we send him that before we even pay for it. Because we don't pay and then send the music. He's like, send me the music first. If he likes it, if I think he's gonna like it, then we'll talk money.
That's fair.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So people should know that at this point. Just want something I wanted to get off my chest at the end there. But yeah, to the people that have supported us, and even the people that don't, if they left a comment, it means they listened to it. You know, so it's fine with me. But yeah, just a massive thank you. And everybody that's in the Missouri area, we will see you guys on Saturday.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man. This was really fun.